Marcus Johnson fixed his tie as he walked into the tall glass building. Today was important. He had worked for 15 years to reach this point in his career. At 42, Marcus was now one of the best investment advisors in the city. Many big companies wanted his help. Today, he was meeting with Rivetech, a tech company looking for $120 million to grow their business. Marcus arrived 15 minutes early. He always made sure to be on time. He rode the elevator to the top floor where the meeting rooms were. The walls of the elevator were like mirrors. Marcus checked his reflection one last time. His dark blue suit was perfect. His tie was straight. He looked ready. When he reached the top floor, a young woman at the desk smiled at him. "I'm here for the Rivetech meeting," Marcus said. "Marcus Johnson from Capital Growth Partners. They're running a bit late," she told him. "Please have a seat in the waiting area." Marcus nodded and sat down. He opened his folder and looked through his notes. He knew this presentation was very good. His plan could help Rivetech get all the money they needed. Marcus had helped 3 other tech companies get funding this year. He was good at his job. While Marcus was reading his notes, 3 white men in expensive suits walked into the waiting area. They were talking loudly about golf. Marcus didn't look up until he heard one of them laugh in a strange way. "Looks like they sent the janitor to the executive floor by mistake," said the tallest man. He had silver hair and an expensive watch. The other 2 men laughed. Marcus realized they were talking about him. He was the only black person in the waiting area. He took a deep breath and stood up. "I'm here for the Rivetech meeting," Marcus said calmly. He held out his hand. "Marcus Johnson, Senior Investment Advisor at Capital Growth Partners." The silver-haired man looked at Marcus's hand, but didn't shake it. "Right, you're the diversity hire they mentioned." His friends laughed again. "Well, the cleaning staff entrance is downstairs. But since you're here, maybe you could grab us some coffee while we wait." Marcus felt his face get hot. He had dealt with racism many times in his life, but it still hurt every time. Still, he kept his calm. Getting angry would not help. "I believe you've misunderstood," Marcus said in a steady voice. "I'm the lead advisor for this presentation." "Whatever you say," the man replied with a wave of his hand. "Just make sure mine's black, no sugar." The 3 men turned away from Marcus. They acted like he wasn't even there. Marcus sat back down. He opened his folder again, but he wasn't reading anymore. In his mind, he was counting to 10 slowly. The receptionist called them all in 10 minutes later. Marcus walked into the big meeting room. The silver-haired man, whose name tag said Walter Prescott, VP of Operations, looked shocked when the CEO pointed Marcus to the main seat at the front of the room. "Everyone, this is Marcus Johnson," said the CEO. "He's the financial genius who's helped 3 companies in our industry secure major funding this year." Walter Prescott nearly choked on his water. His face turned red. He clearly had not expected Marcus to be the expert they were meeting. Marcus opened his presentation folders. He handed one to each person in the room. He was a professional. He would do his job well, even though these men had just treated him like dirt. Marcus knew something they didn't know, something that would make them very sorry very soon. Marcus stood at the front of the room. He clicked a button, and his first slide appeared on the big screen. Every person in the room looked at him. Some seemed interested. Walter Prescott and his 2 friends looked unhappy. "Thank you for meeting with me today," Marcus began. His voice was strong and clear. "Rivetech has shown great growth in the past 3 years. Now you need funding to take your company to the next level." For the next 20 minutes, Marcus talked about money, markets, and plans. He showed charts and numbers. He explained how Rivetech could get the $120 million they needed. His plan was very good. Most people in the room were nodding and taking notes, but not Walter Prescott. Every time Marcus made an important point, Walter would roll his eyes or whisper to his friends. When Marcus showed a chart about market growth, Walter made a loud sighing sound. The CEO of Rivetech, Mr. Thompson seemed to notice Walter's behavior. He frowned when Walter whispered again, but he did not say anything. Marcus finished his presentation. "Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?" The room was quiet for a moment. Then Walter Prescott spoke up. "That's all very nice," Walter said with a smirk on his face, "but I think we need someone with more traditional experience in this field." No offense. The word traditional hung in the air. Everyone knew what Walter really meant. He wanted a white advisor. Mr. Thompson looked confused. "Walter, Mr. Johnson's track record speaks for itself. His last 3 clients secured funding 30% above projections. I just think we need someone who understands how things work in the real business world," Walter insisted. He stared right at Marcus when he said the word real. Another person at the table, a woman named Janet, spoke up. "I thought the presentation was excellent. Your strategy for approaching Meridian Capital is especially strong." Marcus nodded thanks to Janet. "Meridian has been looking to invest in tech companies like yours. Their board is very interested in companies with solid growth plans." Walter laughed. "And you know this how? Did you clean their offices too?" The room went silent. Mr. Thompson's face turned red. "Walter, that's enough." Marcus kept his face calm, but inside he was angry. He had worked too hard to be treated this way, but he knew getting upset would only make things worse. "I know this," Marcus said calmly, "because I serve on Meridian's investment board. I advise both sides in deals like this. It's a common practice in our industry." Walter's face changed. For a second, he looked worried, but then he smiled again. "Of course you do," he said in a voice that showed he didn't believe Marcus. The meeting ended soon after. Some people came up to shake Marcus's hand. Walter and his friends left quickly without saying goodbye. Mr. Thompson walked Marcus to the elevator. "I'm very sorry about Walter," he said. "His behavior was unacceptable. We are still very interested in working with you." Marcus nodded. "Thank you for the opportunity. I'll be in touch soon." As the elevator doors closed, Marcus took out his phone. He made a call. "James, it's Marcus. I need an emergency board meeting at Meridian Capital this afternoon." "Yes, it's about the Rivitech deal." "No, I cannot recommend moving forward. I'll explain everything when I see you." Marcus put his phone away. He felt no joy in what he was about to do, but business was about trust and respect, and some lessons had to be learned the hard way. Back at Rivitech, Walter Prescott was laughing with his friends in his office. "Can you believe they sent that guy to pitch to us? What a joke." Little did Walter know that his $120 million deal was already starting to fall apart. Marcus walked into his office building. His assistant Lisa looked up from her computer and smiled. Then she saw his face. "Bad meeting?" Lisa asked. She had worked with Marcus for 7 years. She could tell when something was wrong. Marcus put his folder down on her desk. "You could say that." "Want to talk about it?" Lisa asked. Marcus sat down in the chair next to her desk. He told her about the 3 men in the waiting room. He told her how they thought he was a janitor. He told her about Walter Prescott and his rude comments during the meeting. Lisa shook her head. "Those idiots," she said. "Don't they know who you are?" Marcus shrugged. "To some people, all they see is the color of my skin." "So what will you do?" Lisa asked. "I have a board meeting at Meridian Capital in 1 hour," Marcus said. "I need to tell them what happened." Lisa nodded. She understood. Marcus was not just any investment advisor. He was also a key board member at Meridian Capital. Meridian was the company that Rivitech wanted $120 million from. Marcus had been working with both companies to help make the deal happen. This was normal in their business. But after today, things had changed. "Do you want me to print more copies of the Rivitech file?" Lisa asked. "Yes, please. 10 copies. And call James and tell him I'm coming early. I need to talk to him before the meeting." Marcus went into his office. He sat at his desk and looked out the window. The city looked busy below him. Cars and people moved along the streets. Everyone had somewhere to go, something to do. Marcus did not enjoy what he had to do next. He never wanted to hurt a company's chances, but he had to be honest with the board. They needed to know what kind of people they might be working with. His phone rang. It was Mr. Thompson, the CEO of Rivitech. "Mr. Johnson, I want to apologize again for today," Mr. Thompson said. "Walter Prescott's behavior was completely unacceptable." "Thank you for saying that," Marcus replied. "I would like to meet with you again, just you and me. No, Walter, we really need your help with this funding." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Mr. Thompson, I appreciate the offer, but I need to be honest with you. I sit on the board at Meridian Capital. I will be discussing the Rivitech deal with them today." There was silence on the phone. Then Mr. Thompson spoke, his voice much more serious. "You're on Meridian's board. I had no idea." "Yes, and I have to tell them about my experience today." "I understand," Mr. Thompson said quietly. "Is there anything I can do?" "Just know that I will only speak about the facts. I will not try to make things worse than they are." "Thank you for that, at least," Mr. Thompson said. He sounded worried now. "Please let me know what happens." After the call ended, Lisa came in with the folders. "Everything is ready. James will meet you 15 minutes before the board meeting." Marcus thanked her and gathered his things. As he walked out, Lisa called to him. "Marcus, make them pay." Marcus shook his head. "This isn't about making anyone pay, Lisa. It's about doing business with people we can trust. If we can't trust them in a simple meeting, how can we trust them with $120 million? Marcus took a taxi to the Meridian Capital building. It was another tall glass tower in the middle of the city. Inside, people nodded and greeted him with respect. Here, everyone knew exactly who Marcus Johnson was. James Wilson was waiting for him in the meeting room. James was the chairman of the board. He and Marcus had been friends for 10 years. "This must be serious," James said. "We never have emergency meetings." "It is," Marcus said. "Let me explain before everyone else arrives." As Marcus told his story, James's face grew darker and darker. The Meridian Capital board meeting began at 3 o'clock. 8 people sat around a large wooden table. There were 5 men and 3 women. They were all important people in the business world. James Wilson called the meeting to order. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice. Marcus has some information about the Rivitech deal that we need to discuss." All eyes turned to Marcus. He opened his folder and took out his notes. "As you know, we have been planning to invest $120 million in Rivitech," Marcus began. "I met with their team today to present our funding plan." Marcus told the board what had happened. He told them about Walter Prescott and the coffee comment. He told them about the interruptions during his presentation. He told them about Walter's comment about needing someone more traditional. He did not raise his voice. He did not show anger. He simply told the facts. When he finished, the room was quiet. "To be clear," Marcus said, "I am not telling you this because my feelings were hurt. I am telling you this because it shows poor judgment from a key leader at Rivitech. Walter Prescott is their VP of Operations. He will be handling much of our money if we move forward." A woman named Sarah Chen spoke first. "If this is how they act in a first meeting, how will they act when problems come up? And problems always come up with big investments." An older man named Richard Brown nodded. "Character matters in business. Always has, always will." "What does the rest of their leadership team look like?" asked another board member. "The CEO, Mr. Thompson, seemed professional," Marcus said. "He apologized for Walter's behavior, but he didn't stop it when it was happening." James looked around the table. "I think we need to vote. Should we continue with the Rivitech investment?" One by one, the board members voted. Every single person voted no. The $120 million deal was dead. "I'll inform Rivitech of our decision," James said. "Marcus, thank you for bringing this to our attention." As the meeting ended, Sarah walked over to Marcus. "I'm sorry that happened to you," she said. Marcus shrugged. "It happens more than you might think." "Well, it shouldn't," Sarah said firmly. "And it cost them $120 million this time." Back at Rivitech, Walter Prescott was sitting in his office. He was feeling good about the day. He thought the meeting had gone well. He believed Marcus Johnson was just some diversity hire who didn't know what he was talking about. Walter was sure that Rivitech would find a better advisor, one who understood the real business world. Walter's phone rang. It was Mr. Thompson, the CEO. "Come to my office right now," Mr. Thompson said. His voice was cold. Walter walked to the CEO's office with a confident smile. But when he opened the door, he saw that Mr. Thompson was not alone. The entire executive team was there. No one was smiling. "What's going on?" Walter asked. Mr. Thompson held up a piece of paper. "I just got an email from Meridian Capital. They are not going to fund us. The deal is dead." Walter felt his stomach drop. "What? Why?" "Because of you, Walter," Mr. Thompson said angrily. "Marcus Johnson is a board member at Meridian. He told them how you treated him today." Walter's face went white. "He's on their board. How was I supposed to know that?" "You weren't supposed to know," said another executive. "You were supposed to be professional with everyone you meet. That's basic business." "But he's just—" Walter started. "He's just what?" Mr. Thompson interrupted. "Just a black man. Is that what you were going to say?" Walter was silent. "Do you know what you've done?" Mr. Thompson continued. "We needed that money. Now we have to start over with new investors. And guess what? News travels fast in this industry. Once people hear that Meridian pulled out, they'll all want to know why." Walter sat down heavily in a chair. He was starting to understand how badly he had messed up. "We have a big problem now," Mr. Thompson said, "and we need to decide what to do about it. And about you." The next morning, Marcus arrived at his office early. He had not slept well. He never enjoyed being part of something that might hurt a company. But he knew he had done the right thing. Lisa came in with a cup of coffee for him. "You're all over the business news this morning," she said. "What?" Marcus looked up in surprise. Lisa showed him her tablet. The headline read, "Rivitech loses $120 million deal after racism incident." Marcus took the tablet and read quickly. The article did not mention his name, but it said that a high-ranking board member at Meridian Capital had been treated in a racist way by Rivitech executives. The article said that this was why Meridian had pulled out of the deal. "I didn't talk to any reporters," Marcus said. "You didn't have to," Lisa replied. "People talk, especially when $120 million disappears." Marcus's phone rang. It was James from Meridian. "Have you seen the news?" James asked. "Just now," Marcus said. "I didn't say anything to the press." "Neither did I," James said. "But there were 8 people in that board meeting. And news this big doesn't stay secret long." "What happens now?" Marcus asked. "Well, Rivitech stock is down 8% this morning. And I've had calls from 2 other investment firms. They were also thinking about working with Rivitech. Now they're having second thoughts." After hanging up, Marcus checked his email. There were dozens of new messages. Many were from reporters wanting a comment. Some were from other companies wanting to work with him. A few were from old friends saying they were proud of him. One email caught his eye. It was from Mr. Thompson, the CEO of Rivitech. "Mr. Johnson," the email began, "I want to apologize again for what happened. Walter Prescott has been asked to resign from Rivitech. His behavior does not represent our company values. I hope we can meet again someday under better circumstances." Marcus replied with a short message. "Thank you for letting me know. I wish you and Rivitech the best." He meant it. Marcus had no desire to see a whole company suffer because one man was racist. But actions had consequences. That was just how the world worked. Meanwhile, at Rivitech, Things were bad. The phones were ringing nonstop. Reporters wanted statements. Investors wanted answers. Employees were worried about their jobs. Walter Prescott sat in his office, packing his things into a box. His two friends who had been with him yesterday stood in the doorway. "This is so unfair," one of them said. "How were you supposed to know who he was?" Walter shook his head. "That's the point. You never know who someone might be." "I messed up." The other friend snorted. "Come on, Walter. You just said what everyone was thinking." Walter looked up sharply. "No, I didn't. I said what I was thinking. And look where it got me. Look where it got the company." He waved his hand around the office. "All because I couldn't see past the color of someone's skin. That's not just wrong morally. It's bad business." His friends looked uncomfortable. They had never heard Walter talk like this before. "What will you do now?" one of them asked. Walter put the last of his things in the box. "I don't know. Who's going to hire me after this? My name is all over the business news. I'm toxic now." As Walter left the building for the last time, carrying his box of personal items, he saw the reporters waiting outside. They started shouting questions and taking pictures. Walter pushed past them without saying anything. He had already said too much. Back at his office, Marcus was still getting calls and emails, but he was trying to focus on his other clients. Life and business moved on. Lisa knocked on his door. "There's someone here to see you," she said. "Janet Lee from Rivatech." Marcus remembered Janet. She was the woman who had spoken up during his presentation, saying she thought his ideas were good. "Send her in," Marcus said. Janet walked in and shook Marcus's hand. "Thank you for seeing me," she said. "I want you to know that not everyone at Rivatech is like Walter Prescott." "I know that," Marcus said. "Please, sit down." Janet sat across from him. "I've been promoted to VP of Operations," she said. "Walter's old job. And I have a request." "What kind of request?" Marcus asked Janet. Janet put a folder on his desk. "We still need that funding. Without it, Rivatech might not survive. 300 people could lose their jobs. People who had nothing to do with what Walter did." Marcus looked at the folder but didn't open it. "I understand your concern, but my board made its decision." "I'm not asking you to change their minds," Janet said quickly. "I know that bridge is burned with Meridian, but you know other investors. You could help us find another way." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Why should I help Rivatech now?" "Because you're good at your job," Janet said simply. "And because you know that one man's actions shouldn't destroy a whole company." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he opened the folder. Inside were new financial reports and a new business plan. "We've made some changes," Janet explained. "We're starting a diversity and inclusion program. We're setting up training for all executives. We want to be better." Marcus read through the papers. The new plan was good. Janet had clearly worked hard on it. "I'll think about it," Marcus said finally. "That's all I can promise right now." Janet stood up and offered her hand again. "That's all I'm asking for. Thank you for your time." After Janet left, Marcus sat thinking. He had no obligation to help Rivatech. What happened was not his fault. But letting a company fail would affect many innocent people. His phone rang. It was James from Meridian. "I just heard that Janet Lee visited you," James said. "News travels fast. She wants me to help them find new investors," Marcus explained. "And will you?" Marcus sighed. "I don't know yet. Part of me says it's not my problem. Another part says I should help if I can." "Whatever you decide, the board will support you," James said. "You've earned that trust." That evening, Marcus went to a small community center in his old neighborhood. Every week, he taught a class there for young people interested in business careers. Many of the students were Black or from other minority groups. Today, one of the students raised her hand. "Mr. Johnson, are you the one from the news? The one who got a racist executive fired?" Marcus was surprised. News really does travel fast. "Yes, that was me. though I didn't try to get anyone fired. That was their company's decision. Another student spoke up, but you stood up to them. You didn't let them get away with it. Marcus looked around the room at the young faces. They were all watching him with interest and respect. I did my job, Marcus said. I gave honest information to my board. The fact is, we couldn't trust a company where senior leadership showed such poor judgment. That's just good business. But it feels good, right? Asked another student, knowing they got what they deserved. Marcus shook his head. No, it doesn't feel good. A company is in trouble. People might lose their jobs. Walter Prescott made a terrible mistake, yes, but I take no joy in what happened. The students looked confused. One young man raised his hand. Then what's the lesson here? Just let people be racist to you. No, Marcus said firmly. The lesson is to always do your best work, to be professional even when others are not, and to remember that in this world, your character matters. Your reputation matters. How you treat people matters. He looked around the room again. Walter Prescott didn't see me as a person. He saw only my skin color. And it cost him everything. That's not a victory for me. It's a tragedy for him. A waste of talent and opportunity. After class, Marcus walked home. It was a nice evening. The city was quiet. He thought about Janet's request as he walked. He thought about the students in his class. He thought about Walter Prescott. By the time he reached his apartment, Marcus had made his decision. He would help Rivatech find new investors, not because he owed them anything, not because he wanted to look good, but because it was the right thing to do, because he had the power to help, and with power comes responsibility. Marcus picked up his phone and called Janet. "I'll help you," he said when she answered, "but I have some conditions." 3 months passed. Marcus worked hard to help Rivatech. He found them new potential investors. He revised their business plans. He met with Janet and Mr. Thompson regularly. One of his conditions had been that Rivatech must start a real diversity program. Not just talk, but action. The company hired a diversity officer and started training for all employees. They also began a scholarship program for minority students interested in technology. Another condition was that Rivatech would work with the community center where Marcus taught his class. They would offer internships to his students and provide computers for the center. Today was an important day. Rivatech was meeting with Summit Partners, a big investment firm. If things went well, Rivatech would get the funding they needed. Marcus sat in the waiting room at Summit Partners with Janet and Mr. Thompson. They were all a little nervous. "Do you think they'll say yes?" Janet asked. "Your numbers are strong," Marcus replied. "The new business plan is solid. I think you have a good chance." Mr. Thompson checked his watch. "It's almost time. Marcus, I want to thank you again for your help. After what happened, you had every right to walk away. Everyone deserves a second chance," Marcus said. Not Walter Prescott specifically, but Rivatech as a company. They were called into the meeting room. 5 executives from Summit Partners were waiting. Marcus recognized one of them. It was Sarah Chen from the Meridian Capital Board. Sarah smiled when she saw Marcus. "Good to see you, Marcus. I didn't know you were working with Rivatech now." "It's a recent development," Marcus explained. "I'm helping them find new investors after the Meridian situation." Sarah nodded. "Yes, we heard about that. It was big news in our industry." The meeting began. Janet presented the new business plan. She was well prepared and answered all questions clearly. Mr. Thompson talked about the company's future goals. Then Marcus explained the financial projections and why he believed Rivatech was a good investment. When they finished, the Summit Partners executives looked impressed. "We'll need to discuss this internally," the lead executive said. "But I can tell you that we're very interested. Your presentation was excellent." After the meeting, Sarah pulled Marcus aside. "Can I talk to you privately for a moment?" They stepped into an empty office. "Are you sure about this, Marcus?" Sarah asked. "After what they did to you." That was one man, Marcus said. And he's gone now. The company is trying to be better. Sarah studied his face. You're a better person than most. I'm not sure I could have helped them after being treated that way. It's not about being better, Marcus said. It's about doing what's right. 300 people work at Rivitech. They don't deserve to lose their jobs because of Walter Prescott. Sarah nodded slowly. I'll make sure the board gives them a fair chance. 2 weeks later, the news was announced. Summit Partners would invest $100 million in Rivitech. It was less than the original Meridian deal, but it was enough to keep the company going. There was a small celebration at Rivitech's office. Janet raised a glass to Marcus. We couldn't have done this without you, she said. Marcus smiled. You did the hard work. I just opened a few doors. As Marcus was leaving the celebration, he got a text message from Lisa. Turn on the business news, Channel 7. Marcus found a quiet office and turned on the TV. A reporter was standing outside a small office building. Former Rivitech executive Walter Prescott has started a new venture, the reporter was saying, but he's having trouble finding investors. Sources say his reputation was badly damaged by the racial incident at Rivitech 3 months ago. The camera showed Walter walking to his car. He looked tired and much older than before. When he saw the camera, he waved it away angrily. Marcus turned off the TV. He felt no happiness seeing Walter struggle, only sadness that a talented businessman had ruined his career with a moment of prejudice. Marcus's phone rang. It was James from Meridian. I heard the news about Rivitech and Summit, James said. Good work. Thanks, Marcus replied. It worked out for the best. Some of the board members are still upset that you helped them, James admitted. They think you were too forgiving. It wasn't about forgiveness, Marcus said. It was about doing what's right for everyone involved. That's why you're good at what you do, James said. You see the bigger picture. After hanging up, Marcus looked out the window at the city below. He thought about how one small moment had changed so many lives. One comment in a waiting room had cost a man his career and nearly destroyed a company. Words had power. Actions had consequences. That was the lesson here. 1 year had passed since the incident with Walter Prescott. A lot had changed in that time. Rivitech was doing well with their new funding. Their stock price had recovered. The company had even won an award for their diversity program. Marcus had been busy too. His reputation had grown after the Rivitech story got out. More companies wanted to work with him. He had to hire 2 new advisors to help with all the business. Today, Marcus was speaking at a business conference. The room was full. Hundreds of people had come to hear him talk about investment strategies. As Marcus walked onto the stage, everyone clapped. He set his notes on the small table and looked out at the crowd. Thank you for coming today, he began. I'm going to talk about finding the right investors for your company. But first, I want to tell you a story. Marcus told the story of what had happened at Rivitech. He didn't mention Walter Prescott by name. He didn't need to. Most people in the room already knew the story. The lesson here isn't about racism, though that was part of it, Marcus said. The lesson is about character in business. How you treat people matters, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because you never know who someone might be. You never know how your actions might affect your company. People in the audience nodded. Some were taking notes. Success in business isn't just about numbers and deals, Marcus continued. It's about relationships. It's about trust. If people can't trust you in small things, they won't trust you with millions of dollars. After the speech, many people came up to shake Marcus's hand. One man waited until the others had left. Mr. Johnson, I'm David Prescott, Walter Prescott's son. Marcus was surprised. The young man looked nervous. I wanted to apologize for what my father did, David said. He was wrong, and I want you to know that I'm not like him. You don't need to apologize for your father's actions, Marcus said gently. Maybe not, but I wanted to anyway. David handed Marcus a business card. I started a tech company last year. We're small, but growing. And we have a strong diversity program from day one. Marcus looked at the card. I'm impressed. Starting a company isn't easy. It's harder when your last name is Prescott, David admitted. But I'm determined to change what that name means in the business world. Marcus thought for a moment. Then he took out one of his own cards and handed it to David. Call my office next week. I'd like to hear more about your company. David's eyes widened. Really? After what my father did to you? You're not your father, Marcus said simply. You deserve to be judged on your own actions. Later that evening, Marcus went to the community center for his weekly class. The center had a new computer lab now, thanks to Rivatech. More students were coming to the classes. Some had even gotten internships at tech companies. As Marcus began the lesson, he noticed a new student in the back row. It was Janet from Rivatech. I hope you don't mind, she said when he asked why she was there. I thought I could learn something, and maybe help the students too. Marcus smiled. Everyone is welcome here. After class, Janet stayed to help a few students with questions. Marcus watched from across the room. This was the real change he had wanted to see. Not just money and programs, but people connecting and helping each other. His phone buzzed with a text message from Lisa. Just saw the news. Walter Prescott got a job at a small firm in another state, starting over. Marcus texted back, good. Everyone deserves a chance to do better. As Marcus packed up his things, he thought about how much had changed in a year. Walter Prescott had lost everything because of one moment of racism, but Rivatech had become a better company. The community center had new resources. His students had new opportunities. Sometimes good things could come from bad situations, not because the bad things were okay. They weren't, but because people could learn and grow and do better. Marcus walked out into the evening air. Tomorrow he would meet with new clients. He would help more companies find funding. He would teach more students. Life moved forward, and he was making a difference, one day at a time. That was success. Not the money or the deals or the fame, but making things better than they were before. That was what really mattered in the end. 5 years had passed since the day Walter Prescott had mistaken Marcus for a janitor. The business world had changed a lot in that time. Companies now took diversity more seriously. Many had programs to train employees about respect and inclusion. The Rivatech story was often used as an example of what not to do. Marcus sat in his new office on the top floor of a tall building. He had started his own investment firm 3 years ago. It was now one of the most successful in the city. He had 30 employees and worked with companies all over the country. Lisa still worked with him. She was now the chief operating officer of the firm. She came into his office with a cup of coffee. Guess who's in the waiting room? She said with a smile. Who? Marcus asked. Walter Prescott. Marcus was surprised. He had not seen Walter since that day 5 years ago. He had heard that Walter was working at a small company in another state. Should I send him away? Lisa asked. Marcus thought for a moment. No, send him in. Walter Prescott looked older now. His silver hair had turned white. He seemed smaller somehow, less confident than before. He stood awkwardly in the doorway of Marcus's office. Thank you for seeing me, Mr. Johnson, Walter said. His voice was quiet. Please, sit down, Marcus said. What can I do for you? Walter sat in the chair across from Marcus's desk. I came to apologize in person. I've wanted to for a long time, but I was too ashamed. Marcus nodded but said nothing. What I did was wrong, Walter continued. Not just rude or unprofessional. It was wrong. I've spent 5 years thinking about it. 5 years is a long time to think about one mistake, Marcus said. Walter shook his head. It wasn't just one mistake. It was a lifetime of thinking the wrong way. That day just showed everyone what was really in my heart. Marcus studied the man in front of him. Walter Prescott seemed truly sorry. His eyes were sad. His shoulders were bent. He was not the same proud man who had looked down on Marcus 5 years ago. I heard you met my son David, Walter said. Yes, Marcus replied. He's done very well for himself. His company is growing fast. He's a better man than I was, Walter said with a sad smile. I'm proud of him. He learned from my mistakes. We all make mistakes, Marcus said. The important thing is what we learn from them. Walter reached into his pocket and took out a small book. He placed it on Marcus's desk. I wrote this. It's my story. About what happened and what I learned. A publisher wants to print it as a teaching tool for businesses. Marcus picked up the book. The title was The High Cost of Prejudice: How I Lost Everything Because of Racism. I don't want to use it without your permission, Walter said. You're not named in the book, but people will know it's about you. Marcus flipped through a few pages. Why are you doing this? Because other people should learn from my mistakes, Walter said. And because it's part of making things right. Not that I ever fully can. Marcus closed the book and handed it back to Walter. You have my permission. Walter looked surprised. Just like that. Just like that, Marcus said. We all have our journeys, Mr. Prescott. Yours took a hard turn that day, but it sounds like you found your way eventually. Walter stood up. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. After Walter left, Lisa came back in. I can't believe you saw him. What did he want? Marcus told her about the book. He's trying to make amends in his own way. Do you think he's really changed? Lisa asked. I think he's trying, Marcus said. And that's all any of us can do. Later that day, Marcus went to the community center. What had once been a small class was now a full program. Dozens of young people were learning about business every week. Some of his former students now had good jobs at top companies. As Marcus watched the students working together, he thought about Walter Prescott. 5 years ago, one man's racism had nearly destroyed a company. But it had also started changes that helped many people. Sometimes good things could come from the worst moments. Marcus smiled. This was his real success. Not the money or the big office, but helping people grow and learn and become better. That was worth more than any business deal.